and end of the day should script should run and generates the backup. Okay, so let's see how do we take a backup. Okay, before moving it to, I'll remove rmf file dot log and directory one. Let's keep only one script. Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
I will remove this as well. Script.sh. Okay, nothing in the server. I'll create from scratch. So the requirement is to take a backup of the folder. Okay, backup in the sense we do copy or we do tar and untar, we call it as. Okay, in Windows we call it as zip, but in Linux we call it as tar and untar. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna create a script. So vi script.sh. Okay, so instead of script I'm gonna write backup.sh. Okay, the script name itself backup.sh. Let's key this name so it will move to the editor mode, and then I'm gonna write with shebang ash explanatory slash bin slash bash. Okay, and after the shebang, let's say my directories are, I'll be keeping it as a variable as directories. Okay, equals to, I'll be put I'll put all the directories in one variable. So basically my variable is directories. Okay, so my directories are slash etc space. So the second folder that I wanted to keep it as backup slash var slash log space, and the third directory slash home. Okay, so I have three directories slash etc slash var slash log as the second folder, and third is in slash home. So slash home itself should take a backup. Okay, so these three I'll have to take a backup. That I'll be keeping it in a variable as directories. Okay, now I'll go with for loop. For why? Because I'll be using multiple directories. There are three directories. It should read in three individual paths, and it should take a backup of those three. Okay, for what is my variable? Directories, right? For directory in dollar what is my variable? Dollar directories, correct? Do Are you able to understand this? For directories in for directory in directories, because I'll be using as a variable, I'll have to I'll be taking a backup of directories. That is the reason I'll have to use for directory in directories in dollar directories. This is my syntax for loop. Okay, are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now I'm gonna do with tar. So as I told, tar is a command to take the to archive it. Okay, to archive it in the Linux. Okay, tar hyphen c czf. Okay, hyphen czf dollar. I'll go with braces open and closed. Okay, dollar base name space dollar directory closed with tar dot gz. Okay, and followed by dollar directory for dollar directory. And after that, I should close my what?
For loop done.
Yes. Basically, see, I'll be having a three directories: slash etc, slash var slash log, and slash home. I have defined all these in a single variable called directories, DIRS, in a simple way. Okay. To take a backup of all three with recursively, I'm going to use for loop. Okay. For directory in dollar directories, do and tar czf. Okay. So tar -czf is a command to take a backup of each directory with the name extension of .tar.gz. So how it will take? It will take, see, in terms of argument, I'm passing it as base name. Okay. So for each individual directory, look for etc. Okay. How the output come will know? Slash comment etc dollar directory means base name itself is etc and the directory is etc dot tar dot gz. That's what the output will come from this command. Similarly, var slash log dot tar dot gz, log dot tar dot gz. Okay, with dollar directory followed by dollar directory. See, wherever I passed dollar directory, it look for slash etc slash log dot gz dot tar dot gz, home dot tar dot gz. That's the reason I'm pointing it as dollar directory. And once this command ran for each folder, it will create a three folder: etc, log, and home, followed by the extension of .tar.gz. And once this completes, it will give a message called backup completed for dollar directory. Okay, and this script is used in one of the pipeline to take a backup of same folders, because slash etc will be having password storage and the application log, and the home will have all the folders. So that is the reason this is the most scenario that I've used in my project. Okay, so clear with this, everybody?
What is the base name there?
Okay, so base name is basically, see, base name looks for the folder base name. For base name represents etc for each folder. Suppose when you point the file name, it looks for the base file name. So here we are using it as directory. That is the reason it look for base name as etc and the base name as, there are multiple paths, slash var slash log. The base name here is log and here
Okay.
is home.
Okay.
Clear?
Sir,
Yes.
can you repeat it once again?
Base name is basically for the folder name. Slash etc is the base name out of these three variables, because it look for first folder as base name and look for the second folder as base name log and look for the third base name as home individually.
Okay, sir.
Getting my point?
Yes,
So
sir.
base name is basically, suppose instead of these three, if you point the file name, the base file name is this and base folder name is this again. So that is the reason we use base name. And base name is basically, it points the variable that we defined and what exactly that we wanted to do. Here the important point is directories, and we are taking a backup of directories, and it should go for the base name only, right? The name of the directory, base name. Clear with this, everybody?
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so I'm gonna save this. Okay, so as I told, it will,
Sir, the variable is mentioned as DIRS, and here in echo statement and as well as the star statement, it is TIR, sir.
hmm, hmm. Okay, so basically we are calling it as, the variable is dollar directories. Okay,
Okay.
see, observe the for loop. What for loop is saying, suppose if you given, let's say these are all the file. If these variables parameters are files, we use for file in files in dollar files. Okay. Now we have defined it as directories as each variable. Similarly, we use for directory in dollar directories.
Okay.
Okay. Do after that we should get archive it. We should get archive it. To archive, here is the command tar hyphen czf followed by the command called dollar. Completely I'm passing it in terms of dollar base name. Basically when we point the dollar, wherever you point the base name, it look for the base directory or base folder or base file, we call it as. Okay, the first variable is etc. Okay, similarly it applicable for all three because we have used for loop. It look for first variable, second variable, third variable. Okay, and dollar directory. So why I passed dollar directory, but this is not our variable. It is our variable is directories. But when I point dollar directory, it look for first directory as a base name. Okay, we are keeping it as first folder as base name as dollar directory in terms of argument. Okay, and once this completes with etc dot tar dot gz, and it go for log because it is a second folder, and look for base name as dollar directory log dot tar dot gz, and again it look for the third folder which is home because base name dollar directory is my third folder, home dot tar dot gz, and of all directory. So that is the reason it should individually go for dollar directory, etc, log, and home, followed by the extension tar.gz. And once that complete, backup completed for dollar directory individually. It should print, it should backup for each folder. That is the reason I have pointing it here, dollar directory in this environment. Clear? See, there is a difference between directories and dollar directory. Dollar directories and this dollar directory. So when you're pointing dollar directories, the value of the dollar directory is completely this. Suppose when you run dollar directory, the value only for this. When the loop is running, when the loop iterates, okay. Again, if it completes for to taking a backup, it moves to log when it runs for dollar directory and take the backup. And again, if it comes to dollar directory, it looks for home, only individual folder, and it gives an output for each repository, each folder output. Clear with this?
Yes,
Clear
sir.
for everybody. Lakshmi Putra. Lakshmi Putra. Ah, okay. Now I'm gonna save this. Okay. Sorry. Cat backup.sh. Okay. So this is my script, and chmod plus x. I'm gonna give permission to execution permission to backup script. Okay, and let's run backup script. Okay, so I am getting permission denied because see, it look for, so you can see the output, it is doing a backup completed for etc, right, individual folder, and backup completed for home, and similarly backup completed for war, but we are having permission denied, right? So what we'll do, let's do ls. So anyways, the folder is created, but it is not even having a files inside in it. Okay, let's remove all these etc etc.gz home and log. Okay, I'll remove this. Now I'll execute the script with sudo permission backup.sh. Okay, sudo dot slash backup.sh, because this etc folder is there now. It will be having some credentials and all the configuration of the server. It needs the permission. All the folders require a permission, right? Are you guys following with me?
Yes, sir.
To execute it in sudo permission, in a root permission, we are using sudo here. I'm using sudo. Okay, so I'm gonna run this. So are we getting the result here? First, removing it from member names and backup completed for etc. This is the actual expected result. And the backup completed for var.log and the backup completed for /home. Are we getting it individually? So when I do cat backup, okay, backup completed for $directory. That is the reason this command looks for individual folder when I point $directory. Okay, so when this $directory look for etc and do backup for etc. Similarly, $directory look for log file and do backup completed for log. Similarly, the $directory look for /home and the backup completed for /home. Clear with this? And if I do ls, so I can see all the files are backed up, and here you have a backup of all the folders. Okay, if you run ls-lrt, it is in zip folder. So also it is in root permission because we have executed with root sudo permission, right? That is the reason it is in other user. Okay, and it is created on today's on December 30th. In terms of date, it is 22/4. It is created on 2/2 UTC time. So date is the command where we want to check UTC date and time. Clear? Clear with this, everybody? Okay, now I'm gonna copy this and put it in our document to back up a script. Sorry, to back up a file or folder. Backup folders below is the script. Okay, so you can also modify. You can point file names instead of folder, because see, whenever we use this archive, we call it as means zip format in Linux, we use always folders. Okay, we'll not unzip the file. We'll not do zip or unzip the file. We'll do normally for folder, correct? So that is the reason the logic is perfect currently. Okay, and similarly, is this clear for everybody? Any questions and any doubts on this? Because this is very important script, because I used in my current project to take a backup of multiple folders, but those folders were not aware of it. So currently I'm pointing it as etc/var/log and then home, and each folder will be having separate individual folders files, and it will get backup in terms of zip format. Okay, whatever the data you contain in this folder, so it will get a backup. Any questions on this, on this script?
Hello.
Yes, Vinay.
Sir, slash where slash log is there, right?
Huh.
Yeah, that is single directory, right?
Single directory only. Inside where there is a folder called log.
Okay, sir.
Single
Okay,
directory
sir.
means log folder. We are taking a backup of log folder. Suppose if you go in server, you can do directly cd to slash var slash log. Okay, inside var there is a folder called where is log. See here. Here is the log.
Okay, okay, okay.
Here is the log file, log folder.
Okay, sir.
Inside that log, so there are some multiple folders. There are some multiple files. So that we are taking a backup.
Okay, okay.
See when
Where is
I
the log is file, right?
what happened?
Where is the directory? Log is a file, right? Inside a where directory.
Where you see file here log? Is it a file? Is it a file or directory?
Directory, sir, directory.
So why I'm not able to do cd means I don't have the right permission to this folder. That is the reason. Okay.
Okay.
Use sudo cd log. I don't have permission to run cd to that. Okay. But basically it's a folder, right? And also it is in non-root user. Sorry, it is in root user. And also it is for syslog. The log of this server. Getting my point.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So wherever I point this, these are all the subfolders here.
Okay, okay.
And suppose when you point in shebang, is it a file? Bin bash. It's a folder, right? Shell folder, bin bash. Okay, clear.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes. What happened?
Sir, you told me that like tar is used to compress a file in a Linux, right?
Mhm.
Then, if we need like in a like in the Windows we use like extract. We use extract is the zip file, but in the Linux, how will you do?
Untar.
Okay.
Tar and untar.
Okay. Sir.
Yes. And you can also use tar and untar to zip, to archive. We call it as archive in Linux. We use archive for tar, means zip, and unzip, we call it as untar. Untar the file. Suppose we can run untar followed by this, followed by the file for folder. Let's try cd untar. Might be we need to modify some
No, unzip you can use it. Sudo.
unzip sudo unzip home. Sudo unzip this folder. Okay, unzip we need to install. Sudo apt get install unzip. Okay, now we can run. I think it's archive and cannot find. I use one of the command called untar. Okay, sudo untar etc. Okay, let's use the same sudo apt install. Unable to locate. Might be you can modify untar or unzip. There are the command that we can use, but I use untar.
Maybe untar will be used for like RPM based Linux, like for that. Maybe we have to untar that, like we will use tar space hyphen xzvf something.
Yes.
Tar space hyphen xzvf and tar file, like compressed file we need to give, like hyphen xzvf and file name, like followed by the tar file.
Yes, that's what. So we need to modify some, not untar. Exactly, you are right.
Yeah, it is
Tar
for RPM based Linux, like RPM based.
XZVF. Untar it. Tar. So basically, I've used tar followed by cat backup. So tar czf is to get backed up with this extension, and xzvf is to untar it. You can use the same.
Like hyphen x will be the, like it will be used to uncompress, like compress. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Compress, or we call it as archive. Okay. And also tar xzvf. An archive. Okay, an archive we call it is. Okay, so you can use the same, and you can modify some command according to your requirement. Suppose if you want to untar it, you can or untar. Okay, use same command. Okay, now let's move to the second scenario. So one of the scenario here to create a multiple user using for loop. Suppose if you have the user of, say suppose going forward we use Git and we use Jenkins and we use Docker. To work on these individual tools, we should get created with multiple users, because so why we go for the dedicated user creation is, so when to avoid interruption, to avoid conflicts in the user, suppose in the root or suppose in the, it's better to have a dedicated user to for individual tool. Suppose when we are working in Git, it should be created as Git user. Suppose when we are executing in root, it should be created as root user, right? Or the admin user, because that environment looks for only that user. That is the reason we should get created with uh, dedicated user. Okay, to work on each tool, so I'm gonna create 3 users using for loop. Okay, and I'm gonna check using if loop. Inside for, I'm gonna use if the user is exist, should not create, and if not, the user is does not exist, it should create the user and list all the users which I created from the script. This is what the scenario. Okay, clear? See, create the user with the tool called Git for the Git user, the tool called Jenkins for the Jenkins user, and the tool called Docker for the Docker user. And if the user is exist, check for user in the dev null. It stores an output in dev null. Then if the user is already exist, and then exit to create the user, and if not, create it, and list all the users which I've created, okay, in the Linux platform. Okay, so let's explore on this script. So I'm gonna start to ls. So I'm gonna create one more script, user creation .sh. Okay, so I'll create the script. Okay, I'll start the script with shebang hash explanatory /bin/bash. Okay, so is my screen visible for everybody?
Yes.
So I'm creating a multiple users. Okay, going forward, we'll learn Git, Jenkins, and Docker as a tool. To work on those tools, we should get created with multiple users. Okay, that is the reason, because I would have shown that when we cover Git, Jenkins, and Docker, but I'm covering it in scripting itself because it's a Linux command to create a user, that is user add in Linux. Okay, now I'll use a variable called users. Okay, so users is equals to, so I'll be putting it in double quotes. User I should get created with Git. The user I should get created with Jenkins and Docker. Okay, so these three are the tools we use in further sessions. Okay, to work on these tools, we should get created with users. Okay, so users get created, there is a command in Linux called user add. Okay, so I'll add that command in this script. Okay, I'll start with for loop. Why? Because I have a limited users list get created here. Okay, so I'm gonna add one more, that is for, let's add maintainer or admin. Okay, so I'll create 4. That is the reason I'll be using it for loop. Okay, so using for loop, I'm gonna create Git, I'm gonna create Jenkins, I'm gonna create Docker, and I'm gonna create admin. Okay, so to use this for loop, what is my variable? Users is my variable. Okay, if that is the case, how can I implement for loop? For user, correct, in what?
Users.
Users.
What users?
Dollar.
Dollar users.
Exactly, dollar users, right? Colon do. Now I'm going to implement my logic here. The logic which I explained, if the user is exist. Okay, how do I add? If id means user id. Okay, if the id as dollar user, as dollar user means, see, understand this clearly. Where I call dollar users, all 4 users, but when I call dollar user, the very first user in my variables, there is a difference between variables in variable, correct? Out of these variables, what is my variable? Git, correct? There is a difference in singular and plural, you guys need to understand. That's the reason users, dollar users and dollar user, don't get confused here. The same logic I've implemented in the previous script. Okay, now, and okay, I'll be checking it into the file called dev null /null/dev/null. Okay, it will check, it will redirect it into this file. Then see, basically it checks the if id exists, if id exists in this dev null. Okay, in this dev null, I'm gonna print echo user of user, that is dollar user already exists. Okay, close the braces. Okay, again, close the braces again. Okay, if I started here and else, because I need to check two conditions here, right? If the user is exist, okay, from this command it will check if the user is exist, print this message, okay. Else create the user. How do I create? The command user add is the command followed by what? Dollar user. Okay, user add is the command followed by username. User add followed by username. Suppose this command looks for dollar user. What is the value of user in users?
Git.
Exactly. So the very first command look for user add followed by git, user add followed by Jenkins, user add followed by Docker, user add followed by admin. User add is the command to create a user. So why it look for one after the other? Because we have used for loop. For loop, see, this script is the script, we call it as nested script. Inside for loop, I'm checking some conditions. Inside for, I'm using if the ID, if the dollar, if the user is exist, store it in this file, and if the user is exist, print this message. Else, create it. This is what the condition that I'm adding here. Okay. In the else, if I wanted to check if this command is right or wrong, how do I check?
Echo echo hash dollar question.
Yes, dollar question mark is fine, but I'll go with if. Okay, if dollar question mark equals to 0. Okay, then what should I add here? Echo if this command is right. If this command is right, what the input that I can give here in echo?
User created.
Yes, user, that is dollar user created. Correct. And then else echo what? Failed to create user, correct? Failed to create user, that is dollar user. Okay, and I'll close my if, first if here, because I have opened if here and I'm closing it here. And where is my second if I opened? Here, right? Where should I closed? I should get closed by here, correct? Right. And
Yes.
one more loop I need to close. Which one?
Done.
Yes, done. I'll close here. We're able to understand this logic. See, the first I'll be using it for loop to create when we have a multiple users. Okay, I'll be defining it as a variable called users. Out of this users, for user in dollar users. Suppose, see, this for loop works this way only. Suppose if these are files, how this for works: for file in dollar files, for directory in dollar directories, for user in users, for links in link, for link in links. Getting my point? Are you guys with me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, now after that, each user should get checked if the user is exist, if ID. Each individual user will be having a particular ID. If ID as dollar user will be stored in dev null, then if the user is already exist by checking in this file with user ID. Okay, else if the user does not exist, what we need to do, we need to get created, right? Else, run this command user add followed by user add git user add Jenkins, user add Docker, user add admin. And if this command works, I should get checked with using a logic $? If $? Here, what is my last executed command?
User.
Exactly.
add.
User add followed by username, right? Equals to 0. If it is print 0, what we can conclude?
Success.
Exactly. This user add followed by username command works executed. It should print 0. Then only we should get the output called user created. Else, fail to get create a user. And I'll close my if is here, and this if I'll be closing it here, and for loop I'll be closing it using done. Clear? Now, this is to create a user. Now, how do I list the users? Once the user is get created, I should get listed, right? So I'll do some modification echo. Okay, inside echo, I'll go with this, just an output to print this. Again echo. In the second line, I'll be using listing all the existing users. Okay, now I'll be keeping it same, listing all the existing users, and one more echo I'm gonna use. It's the same. This is to get understanding, and while giving a demo, it will help you to print this, because listing all the existing users, it will get printed. Okay, how do I list it? Suppose if all 4 this users get created, how do I get listed? It should read for Git, it should read for Jenkins and Docker and admin. And again, I'll have to go for loop, right? For user in $users. Okay, then do, how do I list? If ID as $user, correct? Similar logic only I've implemented above. $user, check for the file /dev /null, correct? Colon, then echo print $user. Okay, and then close fi here, just a single condition, and close for loop. That is done. Okay, so this will list all the users which we created and stored in it. Look for individual user and prints as $user. Okay, it should print Git, Jenkins, Docker, and admin. Correct, right?
Yes.
So basically, it looks for, so you were able to understand this logic. The variable that I've defined as multiple users, and for loop check for each individual user, and if will check if the user is exit the creation. If not, create using this command. And if this command works, I'll be checking it by $, and close fi here. First loop, second loop, third loop. And to get listed with user, I'll be using it this in nested way for the debug purpose. Okay, and again I'm gonna listing users by using for user in $users do with the same file I'm gonna read using for loop. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Okay, basically user creation.sh. Okay, so this is what the lengthy script that we have written, and I'm going to execute chmod +x user creation.sh. Okay, now I'm going to run with /user creation.sh. Let's run. Okay, so we got failed to create user as admin. Why? And also we are having permission denied to create a user ad, and the error we are getting is failed to create user git, failed to create user Jenkins, and failed to create user Docker, and failed to create user admin. What might be the issue?
Sudo command, sir.
Permission.
Yes, sir. In order to create a user, we need sudo command.
Exactly. So when we are creating a users, we should go with sudo dot slash with the sudo permission whenever you are creating a users, or whenever you are reading a log file, or whenever you are reading the configuration file of Linux or any application, we should go with sudo. Okay. Okay, so one of the user is having group admin exists. Okay, got it. Okay, that is the reason failed to create user admin. Why? Because the admin is already existing, it is saying. Okay, now listing all the existing users, Git is created, Jenkins is created, Docker is created, and one of the user add, group admin exists. Okay, so this is what we are getting complete overview of all the details from this script. Sorry, user creation.sh. So see, it is saying user already exists. Here it is saying for which user? Admin. Okay, user add. The admin is exists. That is the reason it is failed to create user, because it is already existing, and rest of the three are not existing. It is get created. Now you can see user git is created, user Jenkins is created, user Docker is get created. For the fourth admin, it is already exists, and that is the reason it is failed to create, because if the user is exist, it won't recreate again, because the user creation will do once for the configuration when we start. Okay, and it will get listed with all the existing users, and these lines will come from this only, so that looks good when you're getting an output. So designing, because I follow this method looks good, and whenever I'm giving a demo, so it will get differentiated with your output when you get created, or whatever the activity that you do. Okay, clear? So are we getting a users get created, and it is also listing all the existing users here.
Yes.
Clear with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
yes, sir. That one I have understood, sir. Admin user is already created. That is why it is displaying message. A user already exists. So, sir, that list, sir. That list all the existing users, na, sir. So as admin user is existing, na, sir. So why is it not displaying in the list, sir?
Okay, so basically admin we will not use as user in Linux, so it will pick admin. Basically, see, irrespective of the OS, irrespective of the Linux system or Windows or Mac, admin is the user. It is saying it is picking the cache. Okay, admin does not exist. Okay, but even though it is picking cache, you are able to understand cache. Normally we use users as in Linux, we use user as root, similar to admin, correct?
Yes.
Right, so that is the reason it is not even listing here, because
Okay, sir.
it
As we
does not
have
exist, but it is
root in
picking the
Linux.
cache.
Okay.
Okay, that's why it is picking only these three.
Got it.
Okay, and we will not use the user as admin in Linux. We use only in root permission with admin permission, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Got it.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear
Yes,
with
sir.
that?
Got it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, multiple user creation. Okay, and also let's move to the next. Any questions and any doubts on this? See, these scripts are very important. Taking a backup, and the user creation and the nested script creation, and also for some of the scenarios. So we'll work on this today. Any questions on this? Any doubts and any questions, guys? Can anybody speak here?
Yes. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
Understood.
Now let's move to the while loop. Similarly, so I'll be having some of the script using while loop. So we know that ping is the command, right? So basically ping is used to check the server status or server up and running or not, right? Ping, suppose if I'm running, it should give a pong, means so wherever the server is up and running, I'm directly pinging it to google.com. Okay, if the server is up and running, we are getting a packets, means the server status, the packets that we are getting from the Google. Now that, which means the server is up and running, right? Now how do we check the success message until retry until success using ping? Understand this requirement clearly, because whenever we are doing a deployment script, we should get checked the URL status or the application status or the server status using ping. This is very much required in deployments. Okay, understand this requirement clearly. We need to retry with multiple times if the server is up and running. If the server is up and running, we should get pong. We should get a message saying internet is available. If we are having a wrong URL or if the server is stopped, we should get waiting for internet connection. We call it as until, retries until success for ping. Okay, retry until success for ping. Retry until success for ping. Okay, how do we do this? So we know the command called ping, so I'll be using it. I'll replace with vi script. There is no script called script. Okay, vi script.sh, escape insert hash explanatory /bin/bash. Okay, now I'm gonna use while loop. While, okay, why I'm using while? If the URL is and exist with connected with internet, it should keep on search until retry until success. Okay, while explanatory ping -c 1 google.com. I'm pinging google.com directly and stores it in dev google.com, stores it in /dev/null. Okay, and number 2, redirect its and 1. Okay, I'll explain what is it, so why I use this. Okay, then do print a message echo waiting for internet connection. Okay, and I'll keep it as sleep as a command. So sleep is a command. I'll keeping it for sleep 5 seconds. Okay, wherever you use the sleep command 5, it is sleeping it for 5 seconds. Suppose if you point 10, so the server is idle for 10 minutes. Server is idle for 10 seconds. Server is idle for 5 seconds. Okay, Similarly, I'm going to use done, and I'll print a message saying internet is available. Okay, let me explain this script. So this is the command this is the loop that I've used in my project to check. So instead of google.com, I have used one of my web application. Okay, so I've just replaced with google.com because we are aware of Google. Because if I told my application status URL here, you will be not in a position to understand that. Okay, it's basically the API calls. Through that, it is reading the web application. Okay, going forward, we'll work on it. So basically, I'll have to use while ping. See, I'm using not here. This represents explanatory, but where this usage is depends on your script requirement. Okay, what this not, okay, if this ping response is success is true, if the ping response is unsuccessful, that is false. That is the reason I'm using it not here. While not, if the ping response success, true. If the ping response unsuccessfully, it is false. Okay, now I've used ping-c1 google.com. So anyways, we know that ping is a command to check the server status. Okay, here -c1 looks for ping once. That is the reason I've used while. Okay, ping twice, ping thrice, ping fourth time, ping fifth time. That is the reason I'm using it as sleep 5 seconds. Out of this 5 seconds, it should check for the status of the existing URL. If this URL is working or it is connected to the internet connectivity, it should print as internet is available. If not, see, this is basically to ping directly to Google for first time from this command as a prefix, we call it as first time, second time, third time, fifth, sixth, until the while loop iterates until the condition fails. Okay, this dev null, see what it will do, it will hides all output into this folder, because if this ping is working, store it inside this. Okay, and what is the digit 2 redirect and &1, this 2 redirect hides the only the error output. Okay, this complete flow, this keeps the screen clean. That is the reason we are adding it is 2 greater than &1. This is basically the logic. The system will understand in numeric and the alphabetical and the symbols. The system will understand in terms of symbols only. Okay, so this I used for the error output and keeps the screen clean. That is the reason I've used it. Okay, so wherever you use this command 2 greater than &1 or to redirect &1, your terminal will be cleaned. That's it. Okay, and do print an echo waiting for internet connectivity, if not the ping, and sleep for 5 seconds, and else print this internet is available. Clear with this?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm gonna save this. Okay, let's give the permission chmod +x script .sh and executes the script.sh. So internet is available, correct? Always our Google is up and running. Okay, suppose if my URL or the application is down, in the sense to know this loop connectivity, I'll be changing it to the wrong URL. Okay, because Google always it won't go down. Okay, I'll save this. Okay, just I'll run the script. Are we getting this waiting for internet connection? And again it iterates until it fails. Again the second, it look for the second ping, third ping, waiting for internet connection. And it also print for fourth ping and fifth, sixth. It will keep on search. Getting my point? Means whenever we are checking the ping through the script before the deployment, we should check whether the application is up and running or whether the service is available. Sorry, server is available. We should get checked through the script. The script is this. Clear? Means multiple retry until success for ping. Okay. Clear? Clear for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, guys, please. Sorry. So clear with the script? Anybody has any questions and any doubts? Any questions and any doubts?
No, sir.
Sir,
Hmm.
sir, this until internet is available, like how long it keeps printing, sir? Like if not,
See,
like
how long means if your internet, see, this website won't be exist, right?
yeah,
So it will keep on exist until your laptop gets shut down.
okay,
Because see this website won't be available, right? Anyways, it will not get connected to internet. This domain itself does not exist, right?
yeah,
Until the system get crashed, because that's how the or of while it works. Until you get control C, until you pressed with control C,
Control C,
it
yes, sir.
will be keep on searching, because anyways we are aware of it. Okay, this domain name does not exist and will not be getting any internet connection for this, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Like
Once
you have stopped it manually. Like, is there anything to stop it? Like after this many tries or something like that?
yes, you give a break here, give the break. See, it check for, see, you can set a limit, check for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then exit, do break. That's it. So currently I'll be keeping it for sleep 5 seconds. So if it checked for within the limit, it might exist, it might exit from the script. If not, it will keep on searching for the internet.
Okay, sir, not.
Okay. I'll keep it as Google. Yes. Okay. Clear? Clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's move to the another scenario. So we need to handle the timeout in scripting. Okay, timeout is very, very important in this technology. Okay, so timeout, retries, failures and errors handling, those are all very important scenarios that I have implemented in my project. Okay, it's basically the web application and the deployment. Okay, so the one of the scenario is that timeout handling. Okay, how do we handle the timeout? Okay, timeout handling. In scripting. Okay, so how do we handle the timeout? Let's write a script to handle the timeout. Okay, so timeout in the sense waiting to get connected with that internet or waiting to get connected with that application. Okay, so I'm gonna write here for the script. I'll use the same vi script.sh. Let's keep shebang. The rest of the things I'll be removing it. Okay, you guys have time, right? It's 8:22. Can we continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What about others? What about others? Let's get
Yes, sir. We can.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I'll be writing it for shebang. I'll be defining a variable called count. Okay, let's keep the variable count as 5. Okay, and for this count I'll use while. Okay, while what is my variable count? So how can I pass an argument? Dollar count, correct? Dollar count greater than 0. Okay, then sorry, I should point to here, to echo waiting for what? Waiting for dollar count means it starts from 0 or it starts from 5 and ends at 0. Okay, and sleep for 1 second. Sleep for 1, and the count is equals to dollar count minus 1, close the braces and close the while loop, done, and use echo has done. Means if the connection, if so the waiting seconds I'll be keeping it as 5 in terms of 5 seconds, and sleep for 1 second if the waiting period, if the waiting calls count minus 1. Suppose if it is starting from 5 minus 1, 4, and waiting for dollar count means 4. Similarly, 5 minus, again the 5 minus 1 is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, and if dollar count greater than 0, if this condition satisfies, and until it iterates waiting to get connected, is basically it is waiting for some timeout, we call it as timeout handling in scripting. So this is what we can implement the script, and the sleep for 1 second and count is equals to dollar count minus 1. Okay, so completely I'll be defining in terms of an argument. Count minus 1 means 5 minus 1 is 4, waiting for 4 seconds, and after 4, before 4 will be 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. The waiting time is for 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and 1 and 0. Okay, clear with this explanation? Basically we call it as timeout. Clear for this, everybody? Let's save this, and I'm gonna run the script /script.sh. Are we getting this waiting 5 4 3 2 1 then 0? It will exit. Basically it look for timeout, whatever the application that you do deployment, whatever the application that you do get connected, and you are inserting some log files into an application, it should have some waiting period, some timeout, right? After the 5 second it will get timed out. So within this time only it should get done, the work should be done, because we should not get any downtime, right? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Is the reason we call it as timeout handling. This is how we can handle for a timeout. Okay, timeout handling in scripting. Any questions and any doubts, guys? Anything that you want to understand from, say, these are all the scenarios, production scripts that I've used in my project. Okay. Any questions and any doubts? Can we continue or wind up the session? Or else let's connect tomorrow for the same. I mean, today evening, obviously. And let's connect in evening. Okay. So I'm gonna give some more assignments using if, else, elif, while, for. Okay. So case we'll discuss tomorrow. And based on that, we'll give an assignment based on the case loop. Okay. Any questions and any doubts, guys? And Purna Chandra, you joined late.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sorry, sir. In the initial, it was not connecting.